So I'm gonna make a character for a 2D pixel art game. And I'm gonna make something that is more geared towards like a platformer type thing where there's like an idle animation and a walking animation and a jumping animation. But you could make different types of animations. You could make like, talking and collecting items or flying if you have other ideas for things that you want to do. Eventually, we'll probably have our characters like die and do other stuff like that, but we're just going to focus on a few basic animations for now. And so I think I'm kind of I might do like a four-legged cat. I've never really done that before, so it might be kind of fun. But as usual, I'm gonna start with like a little outline of what I want to draw. So I'm just gonna take like a circle and a square for the cat body, and I'm gonna let's center this. I'm doing 32 by 32. That may end up being smaller than I want for this, but let's try it. Let's see how it goes. So that's going to be my outline. I'm going to start there and add a new frame. And so I can paint over this. And then I'm going to choose a color. So I'll choose something close to this like purple. And so the first frame for my cat is going to be like probably the first frame of my idle animation, but I also want to make kind of just like a generic like basic frame that I can use as the basis for the other animations. One of the things that's not going to be very clear until we start to put this into the game on Thursday is how the animations kind of get strung together. And I'll try to talk about that a little bit, but the main thing is that we need the main like body of the character to always stay pretty much in the same place. If we have the character like moving up and down within the 32 by 32 square, it's going to look like it's jumping around when we put it into the game. And so a lot of what we're doing is just kind of like moving things a little bit, but the main character always kind of stays centered. And depending on what's happening in the animation, we might move it around a little bit, or it might move up or down or something like that. But for the most part, it's just going to stay in one place. So I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm just going to draw the outline of the cat like this. And then I'm going to use the bucket tool and fill it in. Go back to the pen tool. So I'm hitting P for pen tool, B for bucket tool. So let's give the cat the ears. I'm going to turn off the onion skin now so I can see the whole thing. It's a little bit crunched. Maybe I'll add a little bit over here and maybe erase a little bit like that. It's going to be pretty simple. And then I want to have like a little tail. I'll go like that. Okay, I'll do a little bit more tail. I can turn that down a little bit. And then I'm just going to do really, really short legs with like one foot. It's just like 3 pixels basically, or 4 pixels. Okay, it's really, really simple. I'm going to choose a different color and do the eyes. So the eyes in my design were kind of like, oops, I didn't turn the alpha up. It's like erasing for some reason. Okay, I'm just gonna hit X to switch this. Oh, it's not working. Why is it still doing alpha? Okay. I don't know what's happening there. For the eyes, I had these kind of like X's. I'm trying to think of a simple way I can do an X. Like I could do that, or I could do maybe like that. I don't know if I have space for that. I guess I can. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's see what this looks like at 1x. It's tiny. So yeah, I think that's going to be too small. So let's size this up. I'm going to do 64 and resize it. Okay, that's a little bit better. That'll give me a little more space to play around with things. But it means that it's going to take me longer to draw stuff. Anyway, I'm going to stick with this for now, so I'm going to delete this. So first I need, actually let's save this before I screw anything up. So I'm going to save as my character. And I'm just going to save here for now. I'll save a file later. So save. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so for my idle animation, I really just need something simple. So I think what I want to do, like, is change the tail a little bit and then blink the eyes. But I'm not going to make like a super long animation where the tail's wiggling and the eyes are blinking and there's like they're offset and stuff like that. I can do that in the game editor. That'll save me a lot of time. I can just reuse frames. So all I need for a tail wiggling really is like one wiggle. So I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to take the eraser and erase the tail. Okay, and then I'll draw a different tail. I'll put the onion skin on. So my second tail will, oops. I'm gonna hit 2 to get my purple back since that's the key command for the color palette. Okay, so for my tail, I'm gonna draw in the other direction. Okay, and then let's turn my preview back on. And that's like fine. And if I want it to like not wiggle that much when I go to edit it later, I can duplicate frames like this. Or I could add a third tail or whatever. Well, actually, I'd have to come back here to do a third tail. But anytime I'm duplicating a frame or something like that in Piskel, I should just do that in the game editor. I don't want to do that kind of thing in the art editor because I'm just like taking up more space and time. I can really easily do that in the game editor. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is duplicate both of these frames and I'm gonna do a blink, and so I can do a blink on either eye. So I'm gonna like add in these colors, get rid of the eyes, and then I'm just gonna switch to black, so I'll hit 1 and I'll just draw like a square for each eye. And so now I can make a blink. And then what I can do is just copy this little section here. So I'm using the rectangle selection. I'm just going to copy the eyes. So I'll go here and hit Command C, copy, and then go down in this frame down here and hit Command C, paste. And so now I've got my eyes on this frame. And so now I can like do different types of blinks and different tail wags. I've got like basically 4 different frames to work with. Again, you don't have to do blinking, you don't have to do wagging the tail. We just need something moving on the screen when the player's not like actually hitting any buttons, so we know that the player's still alive and it'll draw attention to the player. So I can use this to create my idle animation. I'm just going to leave these here for now. And now I want to create a walk animation. So I'm going to go back up to frame 1 and duplicate that and then drag it all the way down here. So this is another thing to talk about is, okay, I'm going to save this. Actually, I saved this in the wrong place. Let's go back here, save as. Okay, I should create a new folder for this. So I'm going to create a new folder that's just called Originals. And this is where all my Piskel files are going to be. So I'll save that here. Because the Piskel files aren't going to be part of the game, because they're not going to be loaded into the game. The images that we export as sprite sheets are what we're going to load into the game, so I want to keep the Piskel files in a separate place. It doesn't really matter because they really aren't large files, but it's just a good thing to get in the habit of, because if you do work at a game studio where you have 3D games and the assets are like gigantic, it's a really bad idea to save your edit files like Piskel or Photoshop or whatever. It's a really bad idea to save those files inside of your game. It just makes things it's not a good organization practice. Okay, so the other thing is that I'm just going to create one sprite sheet with all of my character animations on it. You could make separate sprite sheets. You could have an idle image, or idle sprite sheet, walk sprite sheet, jump sprite sheet. If you wanted to do that, what you could do is change the title here and then save as, and then just make a new file. I'm not going to do that because it's easier just to put them all in the same place. But you might want to have more organization, because one thing is I'm not going to be able to like label where these things start and stop. I'm just going to have to like keep track on my own. Okay, so frame 5 is going to be the start of my walk animation. And you might think that my walk animation should start with the same look as my idle animation, but that's not the case. When I start walking, especially in this very simple pixel art game, my feet are immediately moving. I don't need like a frame of getting started because I'm already gonna be on the idle animation when I hit the move frame. So we're just going straight into walk. So what I'm gonna do instead, I'm gonna take my rectangle select tool. I'm going to select the section where my tail is and just cut that. So I hit Command X. I'm going to cut my feet. So I'm cutting all my legs. And now to save myself a little bit of time, instead of drawing my first frame of my walk cycle, I'm just going to duplicate this a bunch of times. I'm actually only going to duplicate it once, because I'm going to be super lazy and just do 2 walk frames, but you guys might want to do like 4 walk frames or whatever. It depends on how much detail you want. But all I really want is something that says this cat is walking. So I'm going to duplicate this frame. Then I'm going to go back to frame 5 and draw my first walk frame. So I'm going to get my pencil. Oops. I keep trying to draw on the computer trackpad. Okay, so if I'm walking, maybe my tail will kind of like go back a little bit. Okay, I need to switch back to purple. So I'll go like that, something like that. And for my next tail, I'll just kind of like bounce it a little bit. So I'll go more like this. I'm not really gonna like try to make this look perfect, because I just want to do this quickly. But we just need something that looks like motion. And so then for my first legs, I can see the base legs, and what I'm going to do is just make, some go up and some go down. So it's just going to be really, really simple. So let's start with the outsides are staying where they are, or maybe going down a little bit. So the outsides go down a little bit, and the insides are going to go up a little bit. So it's going to be a really goofy, just back and forth animation. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down, go to my next frame, and I'm just going to switch the legs now. So the insides are going to go down. This is obviously not based on any anatomical study, but it's just the basic idea of movement. Okay, and so I'm gonna look at the preview a little bit. It looks good enough. If I want to like try to just look at these 2 frames, I can just use the keyboard keys. Okay, so that says walk. That's really all I need. Okay, so now we're almost done actually, because with the game engine, this is going to be walking to the right, obviously. To walk to the left, all I'm going to do is use the game engine to turn the animation around. So I'm not even going to draw the left animation. I'm not going to like reverse the animation or anything. I'm just going to use the game engine for that. If you want a higher level of detail with your character, you might want to have a separate walking animation to the left. You might want to have a walking animation going up and down. You can do all those things. I'm just like doing the most simple version possible because I want to put this into my game engine, see what it looks like, and then go back and make changes if I need to. Okay, so I'm just going to make a jump animation, and this is the one that is kind of the hardest one to do when you're getting started. I should have made another copy of the one without legs or a tail, but I forgot to do that. So let's take a copy of frame 6. I could have just copied frame 7, but and I'm going to get my selection tool and delete my extra stuff again. And so just like with the walk animation, we don't need like a wind-up frame with our jump animation. We just are going straight into jumping, because the moment you hit the key, your character is going to be jumping. You can, if you want to write a lot of complicated code where you like start to jump and then release, you can do that. But we're just going to go with like, as soon as we hit the key, we're jumping. So this will have more frames than the other ones. But the other thing is our character body is not moving. We're not jumping the art. The game engine is going to do all of that physics stuff for us. It's going to do all the jumping, all the other stuff. So if we wiggle the art around inside of our sprite editor, it's going to look really glitchy and weird when we put it in the game engine. So the body stays in the same place. You might want to like angle it up or down or something like that, which you can do, but we don't want to like really change it. Actually, let's do that. Let's like angle it up a little bit. So when we jump, we're going to start going up and then we're going to go down. So I'll start like this and then I'll have like in the middle and then going down. But we want to make sure that the body doesn't change. So I'm going to turn on my onion skin. So I'm going to angle it up a little bit, but I want to make sure it's basically in the same place. So I'll kind of like make the butt go down a little bit, make the head go up a little bit. I'll put the ears like up like that, and then I'll fill this in with the paint bucket. And then the tail, I probably would want it to like go down like this maybe, since we're going up into the air. Something like that maybe. And then the legs, it'll be like, you know, we're going upwards. And then I might, for the eyes, I might move them forward a little bit. So it looks like we're looking forward towards where we're going. Although I think I'm going to run out of space. I shouldn't have made the eyes so specific. It's kind of hard to... Or maybe I can make the eyes just like lines. Maybe that'll be better. Okay, that's good enough. Let's go to the next one. Actually, that looks kind of bad. The eyes. Let's just do... I'm going to actually do this to... Oh no, that looks bad. Okay, let's try that. No, that looks pretty bad. Okay, that's not working. No, that looks bad. Okay. Okay, I'll just do... Maybe I'll just do like this. Will that look normal? I'm sort of regretting this design choice. But that's okay. I'll put like one down here. No, that looks... Okay, I'm just gonna leave that. It's good enough. Okay, let's go to the next frame. So this is a blank frame. So now I'm gonna be evening out in my jump. So let's go back to this color. So we'll be going back to this, and like maybe my ears will be moving forward a little bit like this, and I'll sort of be starting to look at the ground. So my tail is going to be going up like that as I kind of like change directions, and my feet will just be sticking out. Maybe I'll kind of like make the feet stick out like this. Okay, this is gonna look really goofy. It's okay. Okay. And then the eyes do like this. Oh, that looks so weird. I should have made the eyes much smaller. Okay, that looks good enough. So we're starting to fall down again. Go to the next frame. And then this will be my descent. So now my butt is going to be like fully... there's something weird with my color picker. Okay, my butt's gonna be like fully up in the air, and the head is gonna be all the way down here. The ears will be like sticking out like that. And the tail is gonna be going straight up. Well, actually, let's go like that. And then the legs are gonna be getting ready to fall down. So the legs will be like sticking out like that. Of course, there's a lot of different ways to do this. You guys don't have to follow exactly my method, which is pretty haphazard. But whatever you want to do to communicate the different states. And then let's add in the eyes, and then we're almost done. Okay, now the eyes are just really big for some reason. Okay, so let's slow this down a little bit over here in the preview, and we can see, so we have the idle, we have the walk, and we have the jump. And the whole thing is just 9 frames. And that's probably like I probably don't even need as many idle frames as I have. Of course, you guys are welcome to do more frames in your animation, but I'm just trying to keep mine as simple as possible so I can make changes, I can see how it looks in the game, I can play with the design in the game engine, and then I can come back and make changes if I need to. Okay, so we're just gonna go over the exporting a sprite sheet, and then on Thursday we'll create our character inside of the game engine. So I'm going to save this and go to export, and so this is where we'll use the PNG option, and I'm going to leave the scale at 1. You could scale it up if you want to. Maybe you end up wanting to have a bigger character, but I'm going to set the scale at 1 and click download. And we don't have a game folder yet, actually, so this is something that I'll probably go over again on Thursday. But eventually, when we have a folder for our game, I guess we can just create it. I'm just going to make a folder, call this my game. We can choose this folder on Thursday. And inside the game folder, you're going to have all the different parts of the game organized in different folders. And all of the art is going to go into a folder called Sprites. So we just have my character inside Sprites, and I'm going to click Save. And we'll import this into the game on Thursday. And so if we go over to the Finder, and we go to my game in Sprites, we can see this is what the sprite sheet looks like. So it's just 9 frames. And on Thursday, when we learn how to put the character into the game, we're going to learn how to separate the frames and create animations. And as I mentioned, we'll repeat frames. We can turn the frames around and do lots of different stuff to get all the effects that we need. And so that's it. I'll go over posting this and stuff on Thursday. So let's use the rest of the class. You guys can just work on the character animations. So I'll stop this